So I'm just gonna say this straight. I think we're living in a prison planet, and I know how that sounds, but just listen to me, hear me out for a second. For most part of my life, I've been asleep. I've been people pleasing, chasing validation, reacting to everything, needing approval. I thought I was, the good guy. I wasn't. I was easy to control. And when you step back and actually look at this place, this world around us, you start seeing patterns that you can't ignore. You wake up, you go to work, you stress, your cortisol level spikes. You repeat. You wake up, work, stress, chase money, chase status, chase relationships, whatever. You burn out, uh, distract yourself. You do it again tomorrow, and it's not. This isn't random. This is a loop. And what does this loop produce? Stress, fear, anxiety, desperation, addiction. Uh, that's negative energy. Call it what you want. Loosh farming. Attention, emotional energy, whatever. But it feels like something feeds off that. Something, someone, the archons, whatever, the elite, the reptilian PDFs, whatever. Uh, because humans are constantly and consistently being pushed further. High pressure, low control, constant comparison to everyone. Just enough comfort to stay and not, press, Alt F4 or whatever, to self whatever. Just enough stress to keep producing, for the man, for the Matrix, and it feels like farming. It feels like farming emotion. That's what it is. You can call it whatever you want, but it's farming something. And you start to know something deeper. You start to notice the humiliation rituals. They're not just random moments. These are patterns. People working jobs that they hate just to survive, people begging for approval online. The social media is just absolute just trash. People staying in places and situations where they're just constantly disrespected, lowering themselves just to belong. Just to belong. This is humiliation on its highest level, just on repeat. Same thing day in and day out. You break the individuals down. You keep them very small. Keep them chasing. They never question it. They don't know. They're rats in cages. Think about it this way. Think about school. Think about when you were in school. You're forced to go. You get there. You wake up at like 4:30 or 5. You're going on like 2 hours of sleep. Because you're so stressed out, and your parents are assholes, or you're getting bullied at school or whatever. You just don't want to be there, and you're forced to sit in a box all day long. You have to ask permission to speak. You have to raise your hand. Oh, can I please go to the bathroom? It's a humiliation ritual. That's what it is. You can call it whatever you want, but it is. You literally have to ask permission to take a piss. This is control. It's just control. They teach you nothing but nonsense. The one thing that you might learn there is mathematics, and most of that you're not going to use anyways. And if you do, you're going to get that at a higher level education in college. You get taught absolute bullshit history, which is not even real. They won't teach you the truth. You've got fake friendships. You either have the smallest, friend circle, or you've got the largest bullshit friend circle. And keeping up with all these people is just, it would be, I can't even think about it again. It's like just so taxing. The social pressure, the bullying, the fitting in or getting isolated. It's absolute just trash. You wear the mask, you say the right things, you don't stand out whatsoever, and that's not education. That's conditioning. That's anyone that says that is education, they've got Stockholm syndrome. They do. They're training you to conform. It's conforming at the highest level. And then there's the parts that nobody wants you to talk about, being born into situations that you didn't even choose, struggles, limitations, pain. And we call this bullshit normal. I'm not saying that I have every answer, but it just makes you question, what kind of a system allows all this just to happen? And, a lot of people will get mad at me, when I say these kind of things. But I don't care. Most of these people are just on autopilot. They're NPCs. They're just NPCs. They're not thinking. They're not critically thinking for themselves. They're not. They're just reacting. They're running patterns. They're part of the matrix. They're doing what they were conditioned to do, and that's what I mean by NPCs. And I know this because I was one of them before. And here's what is really starting to get to me. The second that you start talking about this kind of stuff, oh, people get so uncomfortable. They're like, oh, you're being negative. You're being too dark. Why don't you just be positive? Shut up. Just shut up. I don't want to hear this. I'm here to speak the truth. I'm not here to hold your hand and coddle you. If you want to go be positive and live your Disney movie life that's fake and a facade somewhere else, go do that. I'm not stopping you. Don't try to stop me. And I'm like, this is just absolute taxing. I'm not here to give you, a Disney happy bullshit version of reality, just so you feel comfortable. I'm sorry. I'm going to tell you how it is because somebody needs to be telling you the truth. If I don't do it, if people like me don't do it, no one is going to do it. I'm not afraid. I've already been through hell and back. It is what it is. I'm not worried about comfort anymore. I'm worried about the truth. And honestly, I'm so tired of the fake positivity. It's everywhere. People acting like you're only allowed to have negative thoughts if it benefits the system. But the second you start questioning things or criticizing how things actually work, now. Sorry, my phone ran out of space. So like I was saying, now you're the problem. Now you're negative. Now you need to fix your mindset, and that's just absolutely fake. That's also control. Most people don't. They don't want the truth. They just want comfort. They want to be coddled. They want to be told everything's fine. They want to feel something that feels good. And society tries to tell you, be happy, smile, be positive all the time. And that's just exhausting. And if you boil up, you keep all these emotions, these negative emotions, you're just going to explode, or you're going to withdraw within, and you're going to become a husk of yourself. There's a reason why humans were given these emotions in the first place, and that's because it's telling you something's wrong with the current situation that you're in. That there's something really wrong, and that's when people tell you not to feel this stuff. It's exhausting and it's inauthentic. At its best, it's inauthentic, and I'm not doing that anymore. Neither should you. You should, feel your emotions, even if it makes people uncomfortable. You're not living your life for everyone else. You're living your life for yourself, and they can think whatever they want, and so can you, and that's free will. And don't be fake just to fit in, And then you've got division everywhere, race, money, status, looks, politics, and people build their entire identities on this stuff. They fight each other over it, while everyone keeps running on autopilot in the background. It's just a way to divide. And money, money. Don't get me started on money. People treat it like it's real, and it's not. It's not. It's fake. It's just a tool. Look at the stock market. Look at it. Up down manipulation. Just oil goes from like 60 to 100 to 120 to 100, and it's just market manipulation. Money is so fake. It's not even. It's an illusion. It's a tool. It's just trash. People trade their entire lives and their entire identities for it. Time, energy, peace, freedom. It just keeps going. For something they didn't even choose. These people. Some people. You're born into a place. You're born into a color. You're born into. It doesn't matter. You don't get to choose your spawn point. You don't get to choose your race, and based on where you are, you can be black, white, whatever, or it doesn't matter. And where the region you are going to be, neglected, molested, whatever for these things, and it's not your choice. And a lot of this starts to feel like nothing but a zero-sum game. Somebody wins at the expense of somebody else losing. People building off of others people's time and energy. The back-breaking labor of the working class, and then the boss gets 95% of what you worked for, and you get 5%, but at least you get to maybe pay your electric bill this month, and he gets his fourth yacht. and it's just absolute bullshit. It is such bullshit. Think about this. Think about it this way: you go work out at a gym. Say you work out at a gym for an hour and a half a day, 4 days a week, and you work out and you're looking to make these gains. What if you had to give 90% of your muscle to somebody else and you got to keep 10% of it? Is that fair? Do you allow that to happen? Don't let the other things happen to you either. It's the same damn thing. Stop feeding these people. Stop feeding this. Stop chasing validation. I stopped chasing validation. I stopped reacting to every single thought. I stopped letting people, drain me. I can literally watch thoughts come in now, and it's not like this is draining me, but you're critically thinking. You see it for what it is. The matrix, what it is. And when you start to do that, things start to shift. Because whatever this is, this prison planet, whatever, the system, this loosh farm, conditioning, it only works when you're unconscious to it. And most people are. But I'm not trying to run from life, and I'm done with that. I'm really done. Now, I still do want connection. I still want, real relationships. I don't need them. I still want to build something, but I'm not doing it blind anymore. I choose what I will give my energy to. I choose who I will let around me. I choose what I build. Nobody is going to do that and tell me what to do ever again. And you shouldn't allow that either. Every single thing, not everything, but most of the things in this world are humiliation rituals. They are. And then look at how the elites get up to the elite class. They have to go through the same thing. They sell their souls. It's not that hard. Like I said about school. All you have to do is see it, and you'll never unsee. You won't be able to unsee that. I don't have every single answer, but I do know this: I'm not asleep anymore. I'm not asleep on this. I used to be such a huge people pleaser, and that's never going to happen anymore. The only relationship that I will ever be in ever again is if it's 50-50 mutual, because a lot of the relationships in the world, whether it's with a woman, a man, a friend, a lover, it doesn't matter. Your family, your children, it does not matter. They are all based on, somebody wanting something in return. People will say, "Oh, I owe you one." What the hell does that even mean? I don't like owing anyone anything. If my friendship with you is based on me having owed them something, keep it. Keep that. I don't want that. It's fake. I don't need that. And once you see these things, you can't go back. Once you brought something to the light, once you have an awakening, once you see these patterns, it's you can't unsee them. You just can't. And I'm not going back, and neither should you. And once again, don't let these people, these narcissists, these energy vampires, these loosh harvesters, this prison planet, don't let these people manipulate you. It is what it is. And if anyone tells you that this is a happy place, do this exercise for me. Just do one thing. Think about the physical pleasure that you've had. Think about the best physical pleasure you've ever had, and then use that in comparison to the worst physical pain you've ever had. Which one is worse? Which one feels like more vivid? Which one has more feeling? The pain. Think about your emotional. Think about the best emotional experience you've ever had compared to the worst emotional experience you ever had. Which one was worse or better in comparison? I guarantee you the one that was worse, you feel that a lot more. Why? Because we are conditioned. This is the way it is. You can have a good experience and that stays with you for a little while. You have a bad experience, it stays with you forever. It just does. So if anyone can explain that to me in a better way than what I'm saying, as this is like some type of prison planet. Now, I'm not saying that there's not God. I believe in God. He helps me through a lot. But you've got to be able to use your discernment. If you don't use your discernment, if you don't know what's going on here, you're pretty much screwed. And everyone will manipulate you, and you'll manipulate yourself, because once you get to that point, your thoughts aren't even yours, and you just become a husk. So I really suggest people start thinking about these things critically and questioning, and never stop questioning. The minute you stop questioning, there's a problem. And the minute things stop changing and things remain the same, there's a problem there as well. People like complacency, people like comfort, and comfort is it's a disease. It will kill you. Don't let these people manipulate you. Don't go back.